Last episode we talked about the ring tempts you. In PDC and PEDH, what other card advantage mechanics similar to it can we utilize? Now we're tackling something a lot more complex. Venture into the dungeon. Cards with this keyword progress you through a dungeon of your own choosing. Each room you complete within that dungeon will either give you different boons or inflict penalties upon your opponents. So it works almost like a planeswalker, huh? Let's dig deeper into the rulings. Number 1. There's currently only 3 official dungeons you can navigate using the Venture into a Dungeon keyword. These are Lost Mine of Phandelver, which works best if your deck isn't dungeon focused, Tomb of Annihilation, which seems to me to be a good fit for Reanimator decks, and finally Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Powerful but needs a lot of dungeon support cards. Number 2, this is self-explanatory. Dungeon cards do not count towards the 99. Once they're brought in from outside the game, they're put in the command zone and you can only have one dungeon active at any point. For example, you can't venture into the Tomb of Annihilation, chicken out because of the room triggers, then reroute to the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Number 3, you can't go sideways or backwards to explore other dungeon rooms. Number 4, once a card with Venture into the Dungeon has resolved, dungeon room progression and completion cannot be stopped, but room triggered effects can still be countered. So keep this in mind while fighting blue mages. Upon dungeon completion, you can either repeat or choose a different dungeon to finish on the next Venture into the Dungeon trigger, so that's number 5. So for example, you speedrun the Lost Mine of Phandelver, you can either redo that or try out the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Finally, number 6, dungeons are like emblems. Once they're in the command zone, they can't be destroyed. There's actually effects that do destroy emblem-like permanents, but they're not tournament legal. Okay, so that took a while. Let's rest a bit while looking at these Venture cards. As you can see, there's not enough of these in common to help us complete any dungeons, so what do we do? So fortunately, there's actually a rule number 7. Initiative cards can also progress you in your current dungeon. Cards like these. In the next part of the series, we'll be discussing other pseudo-non-creature, permanent-based draw engines available to us in PDC and Pauper Commander. Also, if you want to fact-check all of the things I said here, just look it up using this link.